It sounds like we may have a deal on Greenland. President Trump posting on Truth Social, based upon a very productive meeting that I have had with the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte. We have formed the framework of a future deal with respect to Greenland and, in fact, the entire Arctic region. Based upon this understanding, I will not be imposing the tariffs that were scheduled to go into effect on February 1st. President Trump then spoke moments later after announcing that framework. Listen.
Can you give us more details about the deal?
The deal.
No, it's a great deal for everybody.
Will there be an acquisition? Greenland remain Danish for the days of Greenland? Will there be an acquisition?
No, I think they're going to be very happy. It's a great deal for everybody.
Is it a win for America?
Are the tariffs off the table completely now, sir? Can the people of the UK rest assured the deal's gone?
Based on the fact that it looks like we have the concept of a deal. It's a long-term deal. It's the ultimate long-term deal. I think it puts everybody in a really good position, especially as it pertains to security and minerals and other minerals.
All right, NATO's singing the same tune. A spokesperson saying moments ago allies will collectively work to ensure Arctic security, and that China and Russia never gain a foothold economically or militarily in Greenland.
But now what I'm asking for is a piece of ice, cold and poorly located, that can play a vital role in world peace and world protection. It's a very small ask compared to what we have given them for many, many decades.
The president standing by his argument that no other nation is capable of securing Greenland, and he went after Denmark as ungrateful for denying that America should protect Greenland. To his point, things might look pretty different if not for the United States' involvement in World War II.
We were fighting to save it for Denmark. Big, beautiful piece of ice. It's hard to call it land. It's a big piece of ice. But we saved Greenland and successfully prevented our enemies from gaining a foothold in our hemisphere. So we did it for ourselves also. And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps. After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that? But we did it. But we gave it back.
We gave it back. And now we want it back. As Trump has said time and again, the stakes are too high not to own Greenland.
Who the hell wants to defend a license agreement or a lease, which is a large piece of ice in the middle of the ocean where, if there is a war, much of the action will take place on that piece of ice. Think of it. Those missiles would be flying right over the center of that piece of ice. All we want from Denmark for national and international security and to keep our very energetic and dangerous potential enemies at bay is this land on which we're going to build the greatest Golden Dome ever built.
That Golden Dome would be quite an upgrade. Currently, U.S. defense there amounts to just one space base, as per the defense agreement between Denmark and the United States. And to all of those worrying about a hostile takeover of Greenland, Trump issuing this unequivocal response.
I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force. All the United States is asking for is a place called Greenland, where we already had it as a trustee, but respectfully returned it back to Denmark not long ago after we defeated the Germans, the Japanese, the Italians, and others in World War II. We gave it back to them. We were a powerful force then, but we are a much more powerful force now.
Denmark has held that Greenland is not for sale. And last time we checked, most Americans weren't totally sold on Greenland, with 7 in 10 opposing a U.S. takeover. But when it comes to Greenlanders, there's a more even split. This from Reuters about a year ago. Greenlanders overwhelmingly oppose becoming part of the United States, the poll shows. But that headline, it doesn't tell the whole story. The poll showed that 45% viewed Trump's interest in Greenland as a threat, but 43% saying they see it as an opportunity. You just heard that. the key points that seem to stand out to me: security measures, minerals, infinite, a deal that lasts forever.
Yeah, it's great. It's great negotiation. Such an amazing negotiator. We went from this morning, everybody having their hair on fire that the U.S. was going to invade Greenland, to now having a framework deal to get Greenland. It's just it's stunning. He's so good at what he does. And the thing that I think people need to understand is, why is this so important? Why do we need Greenland? We need Greenland because of global warming, partly because what's happening is, as the Arctic ice recedes, the sea lanes through the Arctic are going to be open longer and longer, and eventually they'll be open permanently. And, the reason why the Panama Canal is so strategic is because that's the way you cut through to go from the Atlantic to the Pacific. All our shipping, of everything that goes through there. If you have the Northwest Passage open, then it cuts down the time to go from the Atlantic to the Pacific to 20 days. And China and Russia are moving hard into the Arctic. And most of that Arctic passage goes up between Canada and Greenland, then across Canada, then across Alaska into Asia. And so that's a strategic choke point there in the Arctic passage. So we need it for that. We need it for ballistic missile defense, for the Golden Dome that he's creating. Because if we have Alaska to put missile interceptors in for threats from the Pacific, we need Greenland as the place to put missile interceptors for threats from Europe, for threats from Russia. And then also, as you pointed out, China controls 90% of the world's rare earths right now. And they're going around the world. Not only do we get them from them, but they're going around Africa and other countries buying up all the rare earth mines. Greenland has massive stores of rare earths. It's under a lot of ice. And so there's only one country that could go in and really exploit that, and that's the United States. So we need bases there, we need access to it, and we need to secure it from Russia and China so we can protect our country and protect our national interests in our economy.
Interesting to invoke the Northwest Passage. I've read many books about the ever-elusive Holy Grail of the Northwest Passage that really drove much of the 17 and 1800s when it came to explorers across the Arctic. Here we are in 2026, still looking at the way to navigate around the top of the globe. Last question to you, Mark, though. President Trump has been adamant, and I don't know how much this is a part of the art of the deal, that a lease or a license would not be adequate. Here, what he loosely describes sounds like a lease or a license, although one he describes as infinite.
Yeah. So here, think about it this way. Look at Guantanamo Bay. We don't own Guantanamo Bay. It's the sovereign territory of Cuba, right? But we've had it since 1903. The Cubans have tried to kick us out for almost 7 decades now, since the 1959 revolution, and we're not going anywhere because we have an indefinite lease. We pay them a check for $4,083 a month, and they never cash it. So we are leasing it, but it's an indefinite lease that expires only if we choose to leave or the two countries agree to end it. That's 9/10 of ownership is possession. So if we can put bases in using that same model, then that works just as much as owning it outright.